Okay, Vikash is dancing on my last nerve. He's not that I know he's professionally well accomplished, but he's not that much of a catch physically that you would start nitpicking and sort of trying to dissect people. I don't get why he didn't like Anjali. I thought she was a great girl. He's been on a couple of dates with her, so I don't buy his excuse. I think he just wants to make the most of his money, and if he's not careful, he's going to lose a great girl while he's busy chasing, shadows. Anyway, hey there, thanks for stopping by. Welcome back to my channel. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Indian Matchmaking Season 3, Episode 4. If you're new to my channel, please don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe. It's your girl, Valerie. So we get to meet Sema's family, her two daughters, son-in-law, and her granddaughter, and it was lovely to see her sort of interacting as a grandma with her granddaughter. And then they had a conversation about marriage and sort of the change in societal norms, in the sense that long ago, people used to go to school, finish school, and then girls would look to get married and start a family, whereas now, people finish school, they pursue further education, so they want to go off to university, to college, and get a start their professional careers first before they decide to settle down. They want to travel and see the world. They have so many things that they want to do before they get married. So that means that the age at which people are getting married has sort of changed. And the daughters were telling Seema that people are now getting married after the age of 30 because they have so many things they want to sort of accomplish before they settle down and start a family. And Seema was like, well, 30 is a bit too old. And it's like, well, I guess it is. Some might consider it old because of biology and the reproductive system and stuff. But then I think now with different ways of starting a family, people can wait for a lot longer than they did before, because long ago it used to be, oh, you have to have a baby by 35 or otherwise that's it. And so I really enjoyed that conversation. I really found it entertaining. And then we got to see Vikash on his date with Anjali. Anjali and Vikash. Okay, she is the height that he wanted. She's very talkative and social. Her bio says they both live in California. The only problem is when she was doing her confessional, she said she's someone who's very sort of reserved, and it was nice that Vikash, is very outgoing, and he was able to bring her out of her shell. She is 31, he is 39, and he was sort of saying there's an 8-year gap between the two of them. They went on a painting date. Oh God, I don't know. Vikash was just antsy. He was just all over the place. I don't know whether he was very anxious because he seemed to really like Anjali, or whether that is who he is. I think he was a bit, I don't know, something was a bit off. Obviously, he asked for wine, they did the painting, and he kept critiquing himself. And I don't know whether he was going to self preservation mode because he was worried that she might not like him. They The thing about Anjali though is even though she meets a lot of things that he wanted on his criteria, she doesn't speak Hindi. So Sima was saying this is something that he had to compromise on, in the sense that he can't ask for a woman who does something that that himself does not do. And I remember in the conversation, Anjali actually asked him, so do you and your family speak Hindi at home? And I didn't hear his response. He just mumbled his way out of it. And it's like, why are you so keen on this? Is it because your parents are telling you that you need a wife that speaks Hindi, that way they can teach your children to speak this language? Or what is it exactly that makes you feel that this is something that you need in a wife? It doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. Maybe it's because I don't understand. I'm going to repeat. I don't think Roshali is ready for marriage. I don't think she's ready for marriage. She needs a lot of work. So we see her with 4 of her guy friends, because she did say that she was a tomboy growing up until she started getting into modeling and acting on whatever else she does. So her friends are sort of having a conversation with her, and she's talking about getting married and the type of qualities she's looking for in a guy. And one of them says, she needs someone who's calm and stable because she's very impulsive and very impatient. I think she needs someone who's very patient. I think at the top of the list should be patience, because no matter how calm and stable he is, Rochelle is going to try his patience. And I'm surprised that she's got 4 guy friends and she hasn't even considered dating one of them. That could be the case, or she hasn't thought to get one of her guy friends to introduce her to anybody else, and she needed Sema to help sort of introduce her to a guy. Um, Her friends were saying she's a very close person. She doesn't open up easily to anyone, which I understand. But also at the same time, I don't think she's ready to let go of some of the things that she holds dear. I don't think she's ready to move away from her family, because I remember one of her friends, she did speak about the guy that she went on a date with and said it wouldn't work. And then they asked about the second guy. She said, well, the thing is, he is from Mumbai and so I'm from New Delhi, so it won't work. And it's like, how can you say it won't work before you even meet the person? I think her biggest worry is moving away from her family, as she said. Her biggest worry is leaving her parents. And so I don't think she was going to ever consider anyone that lives very far away from her family, which is really sad because she might lose out on a great guy just because she doesn't want to leave her parents. I think Sima Auntie has finally done it for Priya. Okay, so Priya, obviously she didn't like her first two dates. She went out with Jaya yesterday. She didn't like it. And, well, she seemed to like him, but Jaya didn't like her. And then she went out with Bobby. Bobby was too short, despite having some of the qualities that she wanted on her criteria. So then Sima Auntie had to match her with Vinmal. Well, Vinmal, he's tall, he's creative, he's extroverted, and he's Gujarati. And most importantly, he had a man bun. He had a man bun. I don't know why she didn't ask him to sort of pull it apart to make sure that he's not covering up a bald spot. But anyway, and I liked their conversation. It was flowing. It wasn't anyone trying to outtalk the other person. They talked about their love for food and the fact that Vinmal was taking a sabbatical to go and travel and sort of visit those little sort of street markets and taste food and learn about spices and stuff. And I like their little cricket match. I think they had great chemistry. I can see potential, and you could see that both of them were excited because Vinmal asked for Priya's number and Priya was happy to give it, and they were talking about a second date. So I don't know how that will play out, but I think for first impressions they both made a very good first impression on one another. They both seemed very comfortable. It wasn't like forcing conversation or forcing sort of chemistry. It was just easy flowing. So we'll see how that relationship plays out. I am going to repeat. I have to give it to Sima Auntie because I remember yesterday saying that she goes above and beyond. So she set up a coaching session for Roshali with a relationship advisor because even I could tell there was something wrong with Roshali. There is a lot more baggage that comes with her. Her looking at the criteria of what she's looking for in a partner, and the fact that anyone talking about taking her away from her family triggers her. This was the best idea because no matter how many men Sima Auntie had matched her with, she was always going to struggle unless she could sort of work on herself. And so the relationship coach asks her, tell me about the dynamics at home and sort of who you live with and that sort of thing. So she said she's got her mom and her dad. Her mom were not an arranged marriage, but the problem was they were an intercaste marriage. And because of that, there were a lot of problems when she was growing up. This is why her family sent her to boarding school. And I think because she was sent to boarding school, she has this need to be with her parents to make up for the time she spent away from them. This is the impression that I'm getting. And so I like the fact that the coach was able to sort of not only analyze this, but break it down in a way that made us Roshali aware of what was going on and what might have been hindering her ability to connect with anyone. And so it was nice to see. It was nice to see because I did say it that Roshali will never find a partner as long as she's not willing to let go of her family. And because of this session with the relationship advisor, she was able to understand that, because Sima was saying, she needs to make a choice. She needs to either stay with her family or she needs to get married. She can't have both. And so I think this session opened her eyes up to the idea that just because she's moving away from her family and getting married doesn't mean that she's abandoning them. It doesn't mean that they don't love her anymore. And she has to do what's in her best interest. She has to put herself first before anybody else. And you could see the light bulb moment, that aha moment, sort of happening in the presence of the expert. And I have to give it to the expert because it seems like it was only one session where she was able to achieve this. So I can only imagine what would happen if Roshali kept going. I think if Roshali is to have a successful sort of relationship, she needs to continue to see a relationship advisor. She needs to go to marriage counseling with her partner so that the partner can understand where she's coming from. Otherwise, there are always going to be problems in her marriage. If Priya and her friends, oh my god, how dare they dissect her dates and talk about my favorite Bobby? I think Bobby's amazing. I'm really sad that he didn't hit it off with Priya because I thought they would make a great couple. So Priya's with her friends. She's sort of talking about the dates she's been on. Apparently, Sema auntie just rocked up with Bobby without first asking her, can she bring Bobby? And so she was telling her friends, no, there was no sexual attraction. He's a great guy, but that was not it. I think her friend would have been better matched with one. Her shorter friend would have been a better match for Bobby, but then that's just me. I think they would have gotten along very well. They talked about Jaya and how the conversation was dry. I think Jaya didn't like Priya on site, and so that's why he was just that dry and didn't even make an effort and just wanted the date to end. I think the way that Priya felt about Bobby is the same way that Jaya felt about her, although she mentions that she really likes Vim. I hope Vim likes her as much as she likes him. Apparently they're already going on a second date. She was excited about the top knot, and it's like, oh come on. It's not always about the hair, it's about the personality and the character and everything else that comes with the person, because the hair will fall out. What else is left there? So her friends really seemed to like him, and one of her friends sort of implied that it depends on longevity. I don't know whether Priya is someone who easily loses interest because of the way her friend talked about longevity, and this is going to be a problem. I really hope, if nothing else, if this doesn't work out with him, I hope Adisima sends her to a relationship coach for her to get help, because she says, Priya says in her first relationship they hadn't sort of had a conversation or discussed their expectations, so she's hoping they're going to do this with them. She was asking her friends for questions on what to ask him on the second date, and it's just like, I don't know. I hope it works out. I hope it works out, but we'll see. I'm sorry, but this man is not looking to get married. First of all, his parents were disrespectful during recording, where they were playing on their phones and their phones were ringing and all over the place. Now he speaks to Sima auntie about his date, and he goes on to say that he's worried that why is she, because she's very young. She's 8 years younger than him. He makes it seem like she's 200 years younger than him. Oh, she's very young. What is she doing with me? Why didn't you say your worry is that she's stunning, she's too beautiful to be with you? Why is she hanging around you? Oh, on my criteria, she doesn't speak Hindu, and it's like, seriously, can you not take lessons, the two of you? You can barely speak it, but you're critical about somebody else speaking it. Why, if what is the purpose of her being able to speak it? Is it because that's the language that your parents speak, or what is it? I don't get it. I don't think he's serious. He's been on 3 dates with her. He's met her sister and brother, and he's met her brother and sister-in-law, and yet he still insists, oh, she doesn't meet this bit of my. And it's like, oh my god, just one thing. You're not going shopping. You're not going to a supermarket where you expect to find every single thing. At times you go to a supermarket and you don't find the brand that you normally buy, and you have to substitute and use something else. So I don't get why he's so obsessed with the idea that he needs a wife who is this height, who speaks this language, who does this. He's not serious about marriage. He's not. And I like the fact that Sima said, you are interested in her. The way that you're blushing when you're talking to me, and the fact that you've been on 3 days, tells me that you like her. Tells me that you like her. He just wants to get his money's worth. He wants to try and date as many girls as he can. That's the impression that I'm getting. Oh, Viral and Asha are back from India, so they're sitting with her parents, sort of catching up on the trip and how they felt it went. I like the fact that Asha was able to reassure, Viral's parents that his parents really loved her. They thought she's very ambitious, she's very hardworking. And the father was very impressed because he actually thanked him and said, oh, thank you very much for that. And so I can see them getting married. I think it's just a matter of time. I think they are official because they've told each other they love each other. I think Sima Auntie did a perfect job on these two. They are really great. I remember in season one, she did match someone. I have forgotten the name of the tall girl with the guy, and I think they were a perfect match. I never bothered to catch up to see whether they got married or not. I think it's something that I might need to catch up on. Asha seems like he's very caring, he's very loving, he's very considerate, and so I am happy for Viral. I really hope they get married. But anyway, I digress. Thanks, guys, for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Bye, everyone.